be active in our society. And I choose a role of fighting the abuse of power. This is what I was thinking when I was 23. Now, I graduated in 70 and I didn't really know how to deal with these thoughts of mine. I became instantly very famous. I was on television, radio, movies, theater, doing concerts, writing songs, photo model. I had everything, except one thing. I wasn't allowed to be myself. I'm gay. And I watched I saw people being beaten up and mistreated for the simple fact that they were gay. Some people, especially men, look feminine, and for that simple reason they were beaten up, they were hospitalized and so on. And for 5 years I was looking for a way to do it. How could I activate myself into it? And one day I understood I was famous, everybody knew who I was, everybody was singing my songs. So I stepped forward in an interview called the interview of the century in Iceland, and I said to people, I am gay. I didn't know what the response would be, but it was bad. All the doors closed. I had to go in exile. People tried to kill me, and they were shouting at me. It really, overnight, things turned from plus to minus. I went to Denmark, and I was really in a bad shape. I decided to end my life, but at that very moment I was going to do it, I realized that if I would do it, everything I had done would be lost. So what I did, I started going back to Iceland with my guitar and my talent of writing songs and talking to people and doing concerts. That took many years. I got some gay people to help me establishing a gay movement, and when that was done, I backed away because I'm fine pulling things, but I don't want to sit in a power position or in an office or anything. I like to move around, talk to people, and ask people questions. That's the key to my work. I've been working on this field since, and like I'm saying, what I've done in the Icelandic society, I'm always ready to help people in need if they need my voice, but not just everybody. I check on people. In my country, it's mainly gay people in the beginning, and then there were foreigners. So I had learned a lot of things when the crash came in 2006, and I was busy finishing my biography with a writer at that time, so it took me like a week from the moment the crash came until I could react. How did I react? As usual, I start alone. I placed myself in front of the Parliament building in Reykjavik. I put on my homepage, and I told people I would be standing there every day at 12 o'clock. So please come, join me, ask questions, let's talk about what's happening. And the reason why I placed myself in front of the Parliament building at 12 o'clock, it's because then it's the lunch hour for the Parliament members. I had 2 questions. I asked everyone, each person I saw passing by the Parliament building, I asked them, can you tell me what has happened in this country? And do you have any idea of how we can deal with it? What I found out from the very first moment was that people were confused, they were scared, and they were angry. Nobody seemed to know what had happened, except the banks. Our accounts had been closed down, we couldn't reach our money, the banks had been closed down one day, and the ministers told us, don't worry, we will take care of it. To me, these people could not take care of it because they had caused it. So I put up outdoor protests. I called my friends, intellectuals, artists, asking them to come and talk, try to explain the situation to people. And what I said from the very first meeting was to people, we are all in this together, each and every one of us. All of us are scared, all of us are confused, but let's work together. Let's start here and work this together, systematically and peacefully. And as I always do, I ask people, do you agree? And there were thousands of people shouting yes. And I asked them, do you want another meeting in a week from now, this spot, same time? And they said yes. So I said, okay, let's roll up our sleeves and start working. This took 5 months. But as always, among you people and most places, there are different groups with different ideas of how to do things. That's quite normal. That's, to me, society. But in some situations, we can't afford to do that. We have to unite. We have to stick and stand together. So what I did in the first 3 weeks, I went among people and said, okay, we've started protesting, but what is it we want? And I asked people, I wrote down their demands or claims or whatever we call it, and little by little I narrowed it down to 3 things, 3 demands. We wanted the government to resign, we wanted the board of the National Bank to resign, and we wanted the board of the Money Supervisory Authority to resign. And then I started again. I went to people far left, right wing, wherever they were placed in politics, and I asked them, could you agree on these 3 demands? And they said yes. Then I went to the big meeting and I said to asked people, do you agree on these demands? And thousands of people said yes. And that was the glue to the outdoor meetings, the demonstrations. Every meeting, these 3 demands were read out loud, and people said yes. It took us 5 months, and we got 100% result. Then I stepped back, because it's not my role. I don't want to be in politics. I don't want to ruin my life, as I say. But I'm good as an activist, and I like to share my experience with other people. This is what I've been doing, and that's why I'm here. And I believe other people can learn from it. I travel, I learn from other people. I bring that back to Iceland or wherever I'm going. But I would like to read to you a little bit of my speech. I have a speech that I make usually for an hour. And I like to read for you a little bit of part of it here. Human rights are the cornerstones of our life. But strangely enough, we are many times ready to sacrifice those rights to obtain power or money in the name of economic growth. Corruption is a part of human nature and a strong trait in our culture. In recent years, we have seen it rise to heights as never before, and it has got out of control. We must, as citizens, keep up a dialogue within our society and protect freedom from violence and misuse of power. Our political and financial system is outdated. It has and is being used systematically by few to rob the many of the quality of life and tolerability. We, the people, are invisible to the so-called power people, and yet we count when needed. But when it comes down to it all, we, the people, are the power. When politicians who are to make our laws and protect our societies, sell their soul to the money people, then greed rules in favor of the few, creating suffering for the many. Greedy people never share nor care for anyone else but themselves. To me, the white-collar crimes are the worst crimes of all. We see the gap grow bigger and bigger between the rich and the poor. Today, all over the world, hundreds of thousands are losing their homes and work and are being tricked into financial debts. That is modern slavery. Thousands of people are taking their lives each year because of this situation. The globalization is also poisoning our food, stealing our water, and destroying our nature. We owe it to the future and to ourselves to fight this unjust situation. We are not doing our part out of revenge. We are fighting for a better society, a better world for all. In times like this, we, the citizens, need to be strong guardians of our society. We must protest and use reasons and fantasy. It is a work that does not concede holidays or breaks. All around the globe, people have protested, and these protests are getting stronger day by day. Protesting is a way of being vigilant. It must be about sharing and caring for each and every one of us, not just few. Many people, they tell me they are not interested in politics. That's strange to me, since politics is about life. It's about our lives. Being interested in politics does not mean you have to be a member of a political party. A political party does not own politics, no more than the birds own the sky. I think one of the roles of an artist is to criticize society, to help people to see things differently from another angle, and to criticize politicians and political parties. Criticism is a form of love. We have to use reasons, yes, but we also have to remember the unseen, the unproven, our feelings and cultural roots that cannot always be reasoned. It is called creativity and works perfectly with reason. Thank you.
Just ask you one thing.
Yes.
Why did the Icelandic vote the same party back into power?
It was expected. They are the people who own our society. These are the people who have been the political party from the 1906 or 16, I think. And they have put their power people in the system. And it doesn't matter who comes to power, because what we in the after the elections in 2009, we were really hoping things would change. I had meetings with the new Prime Minister, and she was really energetic lady, and she wanted to help the people. And it started quite well up, because we had a new constitution written, for example. That has been the wish of the people for more than 100 years. Finally, we got it done. We had it done 2 years ago. But after that, something stopped. It was like somebody took a step on the brake. We could feel it. It was the power people who owned the fish, stole the fish from the nation in 1983. That's a small group of people, the rich people. They own the media. They own practically everything. So we saw what was coming, and all we could do was, like, we talked about about it, we can't do anything. If people believe in these people again and willing to get them back, so be it. That's society. That's how things work. But it also tells us that we haven't suffered enough. The majority of people think these people will come back, and they promise to take care of the debts. That was their big promise in the last elections. What happened? Now they came back to power in 1st of May. They went on summer holiday. The first thing they did, they came to the parliament. They came together and they took out the taxes of the rich people. They gave to rich people milliards and milliards by taking the taxes off. At the same time, they told us we have to cut down in the education, the health system, everything. Everything has been cut down, and we are seeing doctors moving away. Very few left. They are cutting down in education. They are cutting down everywhere except on the rich people. And the promise of helping the most indebted homes, they put it into a committee, meaning they are not going to deal with it. So this is the situation. It's a lot of anger in Iceland. I've been spending my summer, the past 4 months, walking among people and asking, did you vote for them? Everybody says no. Everybody says no. I met one old man, he said, look, I've always voted for them. I'm not going to change. And I said, it's your idea, it's fine. I'm not angry at you or something if you want to vote for them. But then he came back to me and said, but they're very unjust. Yeah, I know. And in general, if people, how do you think they will last? Until Christmas, they say. Then you go back and lead us through another revolution. And I said, no, thank you very much. You voted them. You deal with them. I don't feel working for people like that. But let's see what happens. I don't know. But I hear many people think that Icelanders have solved many troubles. We haven't. It's a myth. We are in deep trouble. Our food has gone up. Like if 5 years ago I went to buy food for 2 people for a week, I would spend 1,000 crowns. If I do it today, I spend 8,000. Our taxes have gone up. The medical service, if we get sick, we have to wait for weeks to get doctors.
Weeks? You're lucky.
Years? Yeah, and years. And we are hearing the hospitals are just tumbling down. They don't have the equipment and so on.
What do we do?
Good, right?
What do we do?
What do we do? We protest, we work on it. It's the only option we have. The strongest thing we have today is growing stronger day by day. It's the internet. And you have to think, like before in time when there were no connection among people, among nations. We waited for the ships in the spring to come. Today, within a minute, you can spread the news. And there are groups all over, around the globe, getting stronger and stronger, sharing knowledge and sending message between themselves. And I think we could say that we are seeing signs of this getting to the politicians. They are, in a way, they are backing out. I think the strongest sign of this is Obama wanted to attack Syria. few years back he would have done it like this. He doesn't do it today. The politicians are understanding the internet is a very powerful thing, and we are using it, and they are trying to stop it many times. So here we are. What do? We unite. That's the only way we do.
What's the best angle to go at the map? I mean, Pink Floyd for years, Tony went to put himself at risk to try and get people to understand austerity isn't working, it wasn't our fault, you know, what do we do putting up with it? So I'm looking for the right angle to get people off the coast. Because everybody's suffering. Not everybody's suffering, it's having an impact on everybody, whether or not you can still put food on the table. Regardless, a bunch of guys in suits came into this country and robbed $64,000 million, and nobody has done anything about it. How do you get the people out?
Most people are in denial.
This is the same problem, believe me, it's not just Ireland, it's everywhere. It's the same story everywhere.
But that's what's the angle? What's the
I'm saying to people, like, if you want to move